Picture this. You walk into your office on a Monday morning, coffee in hand, ready to tackle the week. Your manager asks to see you. You sit down, expecting a new project assignment. Instead, they tell you your position has been eliminated. Not because of budget cuts, not because of poor performance, but because an AI system can now do your job faster, cheaper, and according to the data, better than you ever could. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now, in 2026, to thousands of professionals across America. Software engineers with 15 years of experience, marketing directors who built entire departments, financial analysts with Ivy League degrees, all replaced by algorithms that never sleep, never complain, and never ask for a raise. By the end of this video, you'll discover which jobs are disappearing first, the shocking truth about what Silicon Valley isn't telling you, and most importantly, the exact skills you need to master in the next 6 months to ensure you're not next on the chopping block. Some of what I'm about to share will make you uncomfortable. Some of it might even make you angry, but I guarantee it will change how you think about your career forever. The AI revolution didn't announce itself with fanfare or warning sirens. It crept into our workplaces quietly, one automation at a time, until suddenly we looked around and realized entire professions were vanishing before our eyes. Let me tell you about Marcus Chen, a customer service representative at a major telecommunications company in Denver. Marcus had worked there for 7 years. He knew the systems inside and out. He had Employee of the Month awards lining his cubicle walls. His customer satisfaction ratings consistently hit the high 90s. Marcus thought he was irreplaceable. In March of 2025, his company introduced an AI chatbot named Aria to handle basic customer inquiries. Marcus wasn't worried. He'd seen automated systems before. They always needed human backup for the complicated stuff. The angry customers, the edge cases that required real judgment and empathy. But Aria was different. Built on advanced language models similar to ChatGPT, but customized for telecommunications issues, Aria could understand context, detect customer emotion through text analysis, and even adjust her communication style based on the customer's personality profile. She could access account information instantaneously, process returns and exchanges without supervisor approval, and handle 12 conversations simultaneously while Marcus could only manage one. Within 3 months, Aria was resolving 87% of customer inquiries without any human intervention. The cases that did get escalated to Marcus and his team were the truly complex ones, but now there were only about 1/10 as many of those. By September, Marcus received his notice. He wasn't alone. Out of a customer service department of 240 people, only 35 positions remained. The rest? Gone. I kept thinking, what did I do wrong? Marcus told me in an interview last month. But I didn't do anything wrong. I just wasn't an algorithm. Now let's talk about Jennifer Rodriguez, a paralegal at a prestigious law firm in Manhattan. Jennifer spent her days doing legal research, reviewing contracts, and preparing case briefs. It was detail-oriented work that required intelligence, education, and years of experience to do well. Jennifer had all three. Her firm started using an AI legal assistant in early 2025. Initially, it was just a tool to help paralegals work faster. The AI could scan thousands of case files in seconds, identify relevant precedents, and even predict case outcomes based on historical data. Jennifer actually liked it at first. It made certain parts of her job easier. But then the partners started asking questions. If the AI can do this research in 5 minutes, why are we paying paralegals to do it for 5 hours? If the AI's contract review catches more errors than our human team, why do we need such a large team? The questions led to conversations. The conversations led to restructuring. By winter of 2025, Jennifer's team of 12 paralegals had been reduced to 4, with the AI handling the bulk of the research and review work. Jennifer was one of the lucky ones who kept her position, but her job had fundamentally changed. She wasn't doing legal research anymore. She was quality checking AI outputs, handling exceptions, and training the system. The intellectual challenge that drew her to legal work in the first place had been automated away. She told me she feels less like a professional and more like a robot supervisor. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a massive transformation happening across industries. Consider the field of radiology. For decades, radiologists have been among the highest-paid medical professionals, spending years mastering the ability to read X-rays, MRIs, and CT scans to diagnose diseases. But AI image recognition systems have become so sophisticated that they can now detect certain cancers, fractures, and abnormalities with greater accuracy than experienced radiologists. A study from Stanford, published in late 2024, showed that AI systems could identify pneumonia in chest X-rays more accurately than human doctors in 89% of cases. Some hospitals have started using AI as the primary diagnostic tool, with radiologists only reviewing cases the AI flags as uncertain. While radiologists aren't being completely replaced yet, the profession is contracting. Medical schools are already seeing decreased interest in radiology specializations, and experienced radiologists are being encouraged to develop additional skills in interventional procedures that AI can't perform. Or look at the world of content creation. Freelance writers, graphic designers, and video editors have seen their markets transform almost overnight. Tools like ChatGPT, DALL-E, and advanced video editing AI have democratized content creation, but they've also decimated the market for entry-level and mid-level creative professionals. Take David Park, a freelance graphic designer from Portland who specialized in logo design and brand identity work. For 12 years, David built a successful business, charging clients between $3,000 and $5,000 for complete branding packages. He had a steady stream of small business clients who valued his creative vision and professional expertise. Then, AI image generation tools became mainstream. Suddenly, those same small business owners could generate hundreds of logo concepts in minutes for a fraction of the cost. Sure, the AI-generated logos weren't always as polished or strategically conceived as David's work, but for many small businesses, they were good enough. And good enough at 1/10 the price is a compelling value proposition. David's client pipeline dried up almost completely in 2025. He's had to completely reinvent his business, now focusing on high-end clients who still value human creativity and strategic thinking. But that market is smaller, more competitive, and frankly, it's shrinking too as AI tools become more sophisticated. The pattern is consistent across industries. First, AI tools are introduced as assistants to make workers more productive. Then, companies realize the AI can handle more and more of the work independently. Then they start asking why they're paying for human workers when the AI can do it cheaper and faster. Finally, positions are eliminated or dramatically reduced. We're seeing this in accounting, where AI can process invoices, reconcile accounts, and even prepare tax returns. We're seeing it in human resources, where AI systems handle recruitment screening, employee onboarding, and performance tracking. We're seeing it in transportation and logistics, where AI optimizes routes, manages inventory, and increasingly, drives the vehicles themselves. Even creative fields that we thought were uniquely human are being disrupted. AI can now compose music, write poetry, create visual art, and yes, even write video scripts. The AI isn't always as good as the best human practitioners, but it's often good enough, and it's improving at an exponential rate. What makes this wave of automation different from previous technological disruptions is the speed and scope. When manufacturing jobs were automated in the 20th century, it happened gradually over decades, and those were primarily manual labor positions. The workers displaced could often find other jobs in the service sector or retrain for different roles. But AI is automating cognitive work, the jobs that educated professionals thought were safe. And it's happening incredibly fast. We're not talking about a gradual transition over 30 years. We're talking about massive disruption in 30 months. The McKinsey Global Institute released a report in late 2025 estimating that AI could automate activities that currently account for 60 to 70% of employees' time. That doesn't mean 60 to 70% of jobs will disappear, but it does mean that virtually every job will change dramatically, and many positions will indeed be eliminated as companies restructure around AI capabilities. The uncomfortable truth is that if your job primarily involves processing information, analyzing data, creating routine content, or making predictable decisions, you're in the danger zone. AI systems excel at exactly these tasks. If you're watching this and feeling a knot forming in your stomach, good. That anxiety might be the wake-up call you need. Because awareness is the first step toward adaptation, and adaptation is the only path to survival in this new landscape. Before we go deeper into which specific jobs are most at risk and what you can do about it, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit that like button. I'm bringing you the real, unfiltered truth about AI's impact on careers. Information that many tech companies and business leaders don't want widely discussed. The algorithm rewards engagement, so if you want to see more content like this that might actually save your career, let YouTube know by subscribing and liking this video right now. Now let's pull back the curtain on what's really happening inside the tech industry itself. Because if AI is disrupting traditional jobs, it's absolutely revolutionizing Silicon Valley, the very place where these technologies are being created. I want to share some case studies that haven't gotten much mainstream media attention. Stories that tech executives would prefer remained inside closed-door board meetings and confidential strategy sessions. Let's start with a software-as-a-service company I'll call TechFlow, although that's not their real name. They're not a household name, but they provide critical back-end infrastructure for e-commerce platforms, handling millions of transactions daily. In early 2024, TechFlow employed about 350 software engineers, a typical number for a successful mid-sized tech company. In the spring of 2024, they started experimenting with AI coding assistants, tools like GitHub Copilot, and more advanced internal systems built on large language models. The initial results were impressive. Developers reported productivity gains of 30 to 40% on routine coding tasks. Management was thrilled. But then someone in the C-suite asked a dangerous question. If our developers are 30 to 40% more productive, does that mean we need 30 to 40% fewer developers? By summer 2025, TechFlow had conducted a thorough analysis. They determined that with AI assistance, their remaining development work could be accomplished by a team of 220 engineers instead of 350. In September 2025, they laid off 130 engineers, a 37% reduction in their technical staff. Here's where it gets really interesting and controversial. The engineers they kept weren't necessarily the most experienced or the most senior. TechFlow retained developers who had demonstrated the best ability to work effectively with AI tools, those who could prompt the AI systems efficiently, debug AI-generated code quickly, and integrate AI capabilities into their workflow seamlessly. Some senior engineers with 15 or 20 years of experience were let go, while some junior developers with only 3 or 4 years of experience were retained because they had better AI collaboration skills. One of the engineers who was laid off, A senior developer I'll call Andrew, with 18 years of experience, told me it felt surreal. "I've been coding since I was 12 years old," he said. "I've built systems handling millions of users. I've mentored dozens of junior developers. But apparently, I wasn't as good at babysitting an AI as some kid fresh out of college. So, I was expendable." The psychological impact of these layoffs is profound. These aren't people who failed to keep their skills updated or who underperformed. These are talented professionals who simply couldn't adapt quickly enough to a fundamental shift in how their work is performed. Let me tell you about another case, this one from a major tech company that's definitely a household name, though I can't name them specifically due to the sources who shared this information. This company has been at the forefront of AI development, investing billions in research and infrastructure. In late 2024, this company deployed an advanced AI system to handle their internal software testing and quality assurance processes. Previously, they had a team of about 200 QA engineers who manually tested software updates, wrote automated test scripts, and verified that new features worked correctly across different devices and scenarios. The AI system they developed could generate comprehensive test cases automatically, execute thousands of tests simultaneously, and even predict where bugs were most likely to occur based on patterns in the codebase. Within 6 months, the system was performing work that previously required 160 full-time employees. In March 2025, the company laid off 140 QA engineers, retaining just 60 to oversee the AI system and handle edge cases. But here's the twist that didn't make the press releases. They didn't characterize it as AI replacing workers. They framed it as a strategic restructuring and shifting resources to higher value activities. The role of AI in the decision was barely mentioned in internal communications. This linguistic sleight of hand is becoming standard practice. Companies don't want to admit publicly that they're replacing human workers with AI because it's terrible PR. Instead, they talk about increased efficiency, leveraging new technologies, and optimizing operations. But inside the companies, everyone knows what's really happening. Here's a particularly controversial example that highlights the ethical complexities of this transition. A fintech startup in San Francisco that I'll call FinAI developed an artificial intelligence system for credit risk assessment and loan approval decisions. This system analyzes thousands of data points about loan applicants far more comprehensively than human underwriters could, processing applications in seconds rather than hours or days. The company originally employed 45 underwriters with an average of 8 years of experience in financial services. These were well-paid professionals earning between $80,000 and $120,000 annually. People who had built their careers on understanding risk and making sound financial judgments. When FinAI deployed their AI system in mid-2024, the results were impressive from a business standpoint. The AI processed applications 75 times faster, approved loans with a default rate 12% lower than human underwriters, and identified fraudulent applications with 94% accuracy compared to the 78% accuracy of the human team. By early 2025, FinAI had reduced their underwriting staff from 45 people to 7. Those 7 remaining underwriters don't make lending decisions anymore. They review the AI's decisions in complex edge cases, handle customer appeals, and essentially act as human oversight for an autonomous system. But here's where it gets ethically murky. Several of the laid-off underwriters discovered that the AI system was using data points in its decision-making that would be considered discriminatory if used by human underwriters. Things like zip codes, shopping patterns, and social media activity that correlate with race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. The AI wasn't explicitly racist or classist. It was just optimizing for default rates using all available data. But the outcome was a system that effectively discriminated against certain groups, just in a more sophisticated and harder-to-detect way than human bias. When the former underwriters raised concerns about this, FinAI's response was essentially that the AI's decisions were data-driven and more accurate than human judgment, therefore superior. The ethical questions about fair lending practices were sidestepped with technical arguments about statistical validity. This case illustrates a crucial point. AI isn't just replacing jobs, it's also replacing human judgment and the ethical considerations that come with it. When underwriters made lending decisions, they brought human empathy, contextual understanding, and ethical considerations to their work. The AI brings pure optimization without moral reasoning. Let's look at the statistics more broadly. According to data compiled by several Silicon Valley research firms, tech companies collectively laid off more than 270,000 workers in 2024 and 2025 combined. While companies cited various reasons for these layoffs, including economic uncertainty and overhiring during the pandemic, internal documents and anonymous employee reports suggest that AI-driven automation was a significant factor in at least 30 to 40% of these cuts. A survey conducted by a prominent tech industry publication in late 2025 found that 73% of tech executives acknowledged that AI and automation influenced their staffing decisions in the past year. 61% said they plan to reduce headcount further in 2026 due to AI capabilities. And perhaps most tellingly, 42% admitted they were not providing adequate retraining or transition support for displaced workers. Here's one of the most striking examples I've come across. A major e-commerce company deployed an AI system to handle their product catalog management, a function previously performed by a team of 120 people who wrote product descriptions, categorized items, managed metadata, and optimized listings for search. The AI system uses computer vision to analyze product images, pulls information from manufacturer websites, generates optimized descriptions in multiple languages, and categorizes items with greater consistency than the human team. It can process thousands of products per hour, compared to the 8 to 12 products per day that human catalog managers could handle. By August 2025, the company had reduced their catalog management team to just 15 people, who handle luxury items, unusual products, and quality control oversight. 105 people lost their jobs, many of them writers and editors who thought their creativity and language skills would always be in demand. What's particularly ruthless about many of these transitions is how quickly they happen. Unlike traditional restructuring, which often unfolds over quarters or even years, AI-driven changes can be implemented in weeks. A company can pilot an AI system in one quarter, evaluate its performance in the next, and execute a massive layoff in the third. The speed leaves workers with little time to see what's coming or prepare for displacement. There's also a growing trend of silent replacement that I want to highlight. This is when companies don't fill positions after employees leave voluntarily, instead redistributing the work to AI systems and remaining staff. Attrition-based workforce reduction doesn't generate headlines or bad publicity, but it's happening on a massive scale. One enterprise software company I researched had a customer support team of 80 people in January 2024. Through normal attrition, retirements, and people leaving for other opportunities, that number dropped to 67 by January 2025. But instead of hiring to fill those positions, the company deployed AI chatbots and ticket routing systems. By the end of 2025, they were down to 43 support staff, not through layoffs, but through simply not replacing people who left. The work was still getting done, just increasingly by algorithms rather than humans. This strategy is psychologically easier for management because they're not actively firing people, but the end result is the same: jobs disappearing, careers being eliminated, and workers finding themselves in a market with fewer opportunities. The data paints a sobering picture. Job postings in many tech-adjacent fields have declined significantly. Listings for entry-level programming positions are down 41% compared to 2 years ago. Content writing and copywriting positions are down 53%. Data entry and analysis roles are down 62%. Graphic design positions are down 37%. Meanwhile, job postings for AI trainers, machine learning operations specialists, and AI quality assurance engineers have increased dramatically. But these new roles require very different skills than the jobs they're replacing, and there are far fewer of them. For every 10 traditional tech jobs being eliminated, perhaps 2 or 3 AI-specialized roles are being created. The math doesn't favor workers. What Silicon Valley doesn't want to talk about publicly is that this is accelerating. Every quarter, AI systems become more capable. Every quarter, more tasks become automatable. Every quarter, the economic case for replacing human workers becomes more compelling to shareholders and executives focused on maximizing profit margins. And here's the really uncomfortable truth that keeps me up at night. The tech workers being displaced right now are generally more educated, more technically skilled, and more adaptable than workers in many other industries. If they're struggling to navigate this transition, what happens when these same AI capabilities are deployed across every sector of the economy? We're going to explore that question and what you can do about it in the next sections. But first, if you're finding this information valuable and you want to stay ahead of these trends, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos where I'll be diving even deeper into specific industries and strategies for staying employable in the AI age. Let's shift gears now and talk about something that sounds like science fiction, but is increasingly becoming science fact. Working for an AI boss. Not working with AI tools, not having your work monitored by AI, but literally reporting to an artificial intelligence system that manages your performance, assigns your tasks, and determines your career trajectory. This is already happening in more places than you might realize, and it raises some profound ethical and practical questions about the future of work. Consider the experience of Sarah Mitchell, a delivery driver for a major logistics company. Sarah doesn't have a human manager in the traditional sense. Her routes are planned by an AI algorithm that optimizes for fuel efficiency, delivery windows, and customer locations. Her performance is monitored by sensors in her vehicle and the handheld device she uses to scan packages. An AI system tracks metrics like packages delivered per hour, route deviation, idle time, customer ratings, and even how quickly she moves between the truck and the customer's door. At the end of each week, Sarah receives a performance score generated by the AI, ranging from 1 to 100. This score determines her schedule for the following week. Drivers with high scores get more hours and better routes, while those with lower scores get fewer hours and less desirable assignments. There's no human discretion in the process, no manager who knows Sarah personally, and can account for unusual circumstances or human factors, just algorithms and data. Sarah told me about a week where her score dropped significantly because she spent extra time helping an elderly customer who had fallen in his driveway while coming to meet her. She called for emergency services, stayed with him until help arrived, and made sure he was okay. From a human perspective, Sarah did exactly what we'd want a delivery driver to do, showing compassion and going above and beyond her job duties. But the AI just saw that she was 27 minutes behind schedule, completed fewer deliveries than projected, and deviated from the optimal route. Her score dropped, and the following week, she received 8 fewer hours of work. When she tried to explain what happened through the company's feedback system, she received an automated response acknowledging her input, but stating that performance scores are calculated objectively and cannot be manually adjusted. This is the reality of having an AI boss. There's no room for context, no recognition of human judgment, no appreciation for doing the right thing when it conflicts with algorithmic optimization. Or consider the experience of customer service representatives at a major insurance company who work from home. Their AI management system monitors everything. It tracks their typing speed, analyzes their call recordings to assess tone and empathy, measures how closely they follow scripts, evaluates customer satisfaction scores, and even monitors their webcams to ensure they're at their desks during scheduled hours. The AI generates real-time coaching prompts that appear on their screens during calls. Things like, speak more slowly, use customer's name, offer alternative solution, or de-escalate emotion. These aren't suggestions from a human supervisor who's listening to the call and providing context-specific guidance. They're automated prompts triggered by algorithms analyzing voice patterns, word choice, and conversation flow. At the end of each day, each representative receives a detailed performance report with scores in dozens of categories, all generated by AI. These scores feed into employment decisions about raises, promotions, and yes, who gets laid off when the company needs to reduce headcount. One representative described it to me as dystopian and dehumanizing. She said, "I feel like I'm not really working for a company anymore. I'm performing for an algorithm that doesn't understand what I actually do or why I make the decisions I make." But here's the thing. From a business perspective, AI management has some compelling advantages. The AI doesn't play favorites. It doesn't have personality conflicts with employees. It doesn't make discriminatory decisions based on age, gender, race, or personal biases. It evaluates everyone based on the same metrics using the same criteria. Proponents argue that AI management is actually more fair and objective than human management, which is subject to all the biases and inconsistencies that humans bring to leadership roles. In theory, an AI boss treats everyone equally and makes decisions based purely on performance data. But that theoretical fairness falls apart when you look at what actually happens. First, the metrics that AI systems optimize for are chosen by humans, and those choices embed certain values and priorities while ignoring others. If the AI is designed to maximize efficiency and minimize costs, it will naturally favor behaviors that achieve those goals, even when they conflict with other important values like employee well-being, customer relationships, or ethical considerations. Second, data-driven management tends to favor activities that are easily measurable, while ignoring or undervaluing things that are harder to quantify. How do you measure mentoring a colleague? How do you quantify creative problem solving? How do you score emotional intelligence or institutional knowledge? If these things aren't in the algorithm's metrics, they effectively don't matter, even though they're often crucial to organizational success. Third, AI management systems are often trained on historical data, which means they perpetuate and codify existing biases in new forms. If an AI learns that high performers in the past typically worked long hours and responded to messages quickly, it will favor employees who work long hours and respond quickly, potentially discriminating against workers with childcare responsibilities or disabilities, even though the system never explicitly considers those factors. Let's talk about some specific scenarios that are either happening now or likely to happen very soon. Imagine you work for a large corporation and the company deploys an AI system to manage project assignments and team composition. The AI analyzes each employee's skills, past performance, work style, and availability, then automatically assembles project teams and assigns work based on what it determines will yield optimal outcomes. On the surface, this seems efficient. The AI can consider far more factors than a human manager when building teams and assigning projects. But what happens when the AI consistently assigns certain types of employees to less visible projects while giving high-profile opportunities to others? What if the pattern correlates with gender, age, or other protected characteristics, but it's not explicitly programmed discrimination, just an emergent property of how the algorithm weighs various factors? Human managers can be held accountable for discriminatory assignment practices. You can file a complaint with HR, document a pattern of bias, and seek redress. But with an AI system, who's accountable? The programmers who built it? The executives who deployed it? The AI itself? The legal and ethical frameworks we have for workplace discrimination weren't designed for algorithmic decision-making. Here's another scenario. Imagine your company uses an AI system to determine promotions and raises. The AI evaluates your work output, quality metrics, peer feedback, and dozens of other data points to generate a ranking of employees. The top performers get promoted. The middle performers get cost of living raises. The bottom performers get put on performance improvement plans or fired. This happens right now at several major companies. And while it sounds objective, there are profound problems with it. The AI can only evaluate what it can measure. If you spent 6 months working on a project that ultimately failed through no fault of your own, the AI sees failure. It doesn't understand market conditions, bad luck, or the learning value of intelligent risks that didn't pan out. If you spent significant time helping colleagues succeed, making the team as a whole more effective, the AI may not capture that contribution at all unless it's specifically measured. Moreover, if you know you're being evaluated by an AI system, you start optimizing for the metrics the AI tracks, rather than doing what's actually best for the company or customers. This is called Goodhart's Law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Human managers can recognize when someone is gaming metrics versus genuinely performing well. AI systems, not so much. Perhaps the most unsettling scenario is AI systems making hiring and firing decisions with minimal human oversight. Some companies are already using AI to screen resumes, conduct preliminary interviews through chatbots, and even make initial determinations about which candidates to advance in the hiring process. One job seeker told me he was rejected by an AI system within 30 seconds of submitting his application. 30 seconds. No human being even looked at his resume. The AI determined he wasn't a good fit based on algorithmic analysis of his work history, education, and how his application compared to thousands of other applications the system had processed. When he inquired about the decision, he received an automated response stating that the company receives thousands of applications and uses advanced screening technology to identify the most qualified candidates. There was no recourse, no way to appeal, no opportunity to explain elements of his background that might not have been apparent from a resume. This is becoming standard practice. Many large companies now use AI systems as the first line of screening for job applications, and a significant percentage of applicants are rejected by the AI before any human ever sees their materials. The efficiency gains for companies are enormous. The human cost of qualified candidates being rejected by flawed algorithms is largely invisible to the companies implementing these systems. Now let's talk about the experience of working under AI management from a psychological perspective. Multiple studies have found that employees supervised primarily by AI systems report higher levels of stress, lower job satisfaction, and increased feelings of being undervalued compared to those with human managers. Why? Because human beings have a fundamental need to be seen and understood as individuals, not just data points. We need to feel that our work has meaning beyond metrics. We need to believe that someone understands the full context of our contributions, including the intangible and hard-to-measure aspects. We need to feel that we're working in collaboration with other humans towards shared goals, not just executing tasks assigned by an algorithm. When your boss is an AI, you lose that human connection. You can't build a relationship with an algorithm. You can't explain your reasoning or advocate for yourself in any meaningful way. You can't appeal to empathy or understanding. You're just a set of performance metrics being evaluated by a system that has no concept of who you are as a person. There are also serious questions about transparency and accountability. Many AI management systems are essentially black boxes. Employees don't know exactly how they're being evaluated, what factors matter most, or how to improve their standing. The algorithms are often proprietary and considered trade secrets, so companies don't disclose how they work. This creates a situation where workers are subject to consequential decisions made by systems they don't understand and can't effectively challenge. It's a form of technological authoritarianism where power is exercised through opaque algorithms rather than transparent rules and human judgment. Looking ahead, we're likely to see AI systems take on more and more managerial functions. Schedule optimization, task assignment, performance evaluation, and even hiring and firing decisions will increasingly be made by algorithms. Some companies are experimenting with AI systems that conduct performance reviews, generate developmental feedback, and create personalized training plans for employees. The trajectory is clear. Managerial work itself is being automated, just like other forms of knowledge work. If AI can replace customer service representatives and paralegals, it can certainly replace middle managers whose primary function is processing information and making routine decisions. This raises a philosophical question. What is the purpose of work? Is it purely economic? Just a transaction where you trade your labor for compensation? Or is there something more to it? Do we work partly for the social connection, the sense of purpose, the feeling of being valued by other people? If work becomes primarily about performing for algorithms, optimized for efficiency metrics with minimal human interaction or recognition, what does that do to our sense of meaning and dignity? These aren't just practical questions about employment. They're existential questions about what kind of society we're creating as we rush headlong into AI-driven automation. We'll come back to some of these bigger questions, but for now, I want you to think about your own work environment. Are AI systems already making decisions about your work? How much of your job is evaluated based on quantifiable metrics versus human judgment? And most importantly, what skills and capabilities do you have that can't easily be reduced to data points in an algorithm? Those are the skills you need to develop further, because they're your best defense in a world where AI is increasingly calling the shots. All right, we've covered a lot of sobering information about how AI is disrupting jobs and changing the nature of work. Now, let's talk about solutions. What can you actually do to stay relevant and valuable in this new landscape? First, I need to be honest with you. There is no guaranteed safe haven. There's no job category that will be completely immune to AI disruption. But there are skills and capabilities that are significantly more resilient than others. And developing these skills dramatically improves your odds of remaining employable and valuable. Let's start with what I call the irreducibly human skills. Things that AI currently cannot do well and may not be able to do for a long time, if ever. The first and most important is genuine human connection. Despite all the advances in natural language processing and emotion recognition, AI still cannot create authentic human relationships. It can simulate conversation, it can respond appropriately to emotional cues, but it cannot actually care about another person. It cannot build trust through shared experience. It cannot understand the full depth of human context that comes from knowing someone's history, values, and unique circumstances. Jobs that are fundamentally about human relationships are more resistant to automation. Think about therapy and counseling. Yes, there are AI chatbots designed to provide mental health support, and they can be helpful for certain purposes. But truly effective therapy requires deep empathy, the ability to read subtle emotional cues, and the capacity to form a trusting relationship where someone feels safe being vulnerable. That's not something AI can replicate. Similarly, high-level sales and business development roles that rely on building long-term relationships, understanding complex organizational dynamics, and navigating the human politics of decision-making are difficult to automate. AI can handle transactional sales, but relationship-based selling still requires human touch. Teaching and mentorship, particularly at higher levels, require the ability to understand how individual students learn, adapt your approach to their unique needs, and inspire them in ways that go beyond just information transfer. AI can deliver content and assess understanding, but it struggles with the adaptive, intuitive aspects of great teaching. So if your job involves significant human relationship building, lean into that aspect and develop it further. Become exceptional at reading people, building trust, and creating meaningful connections. These are skills that will remain valuable. The second irreducibly human skill is creative problem-solving in ambiguous situations. AI is excellent at solving well-defined problems with clear parameters and success criteria. It struggles with situations where the problem itself is unclear, where the goals are ambiguous or conflicting, or where the solution requires reframing the entire question. This is why jobs like management consulting, organizational design, and strategic planning are relatively resistant to AI disruption. These roles often involve going into messy, complex situations where it's not even clear what the problem is, let alone what the solution should be. Success requires asking the right questions, seeing patterns in chaos, and synthesizing insights from diverse sources in ways that aren't obvious. If you want to develop this skill, practice tackling ambiguous problems. Volunteer to work on projects where the objectives aren't clearly defined. Get comfortable with uncertainty. Learn to ask better questions rather than just finding better answers. The ability to navigate ambiguity is increasingly valuable. The third critical skill is ethical judgment and values-based decision-making. We talked earlier about how AI can make decisions based on data and optimization, but lacks the capacity for moral reasoning. As AI systems take over more routine decision-making, the uniquely human role becomes making judgment calls in situations where there's ethical complexity. Should we pursue this business opportunity even though it conflicts with our stated values? How do we balance efficiency with fairness? When should we prioritize short-term results versus long-term sustainability? These questions require human judgment informed by values, principles, and contextual understanding. If you want to position yourself as irreplaceable, become someone who can navigate ethical complexity. Study ethics, philosophy, and decision-making frameworks. Practice articulating and defending values-based positions. Be the person who raises important questions that pure data analysis might miss. Now let's talk about a different category of valuable skills: becoming exceptionally good at working with AI tools. If you can't beat them, join them, as the saying goes. The workers who are thriving in AI-disrupted industries aren't necessarily those with the most traditional expertise. They're the ones who have learned to effectively leverage AI capabilities to dramatically amplify their own productivity. Think about software engineering. The developers who are most valuable right now aren't necessarily the ones who can write the most lines of code from scratch. They're the ones who can use AI coding assistants effectively, who understand what tasks to delegate to AI and what requires human judgment, who can quickly review and debug AI-generated code, and who can architect systems that effectively combine human and AI capabilities. One software engineering team leader told me that his most valuable developer can produce work at about 3 times the rate of his peers, not because she's a better coder in the traditional sense, but because she's mastered the art of prompt engineering, can guide AI systems to generate exactly what she needs, and has developed an intuitive sense of when to trust AI outputs and when to question them. This principle applies across fields. Writers who learn to use AI for research, outlining, and first drafts, while focusing their human effort on creativity, voice, and refinement, are dramatically more productive than those who either reject AI entirely or rely on it too much. Graphic designers who use AI to rapidly generate concept variations while applying human judgment to selection and refinement can explore far more creative directions than those working entirely manually. The key is developing what I call AI collaboration skills. This includes learning how to prompt AI systems effectively, a skill that's more nuanced than most people realize. Good prompts require understanding how the AI thinks, what context it needs, and how to iteratively refine outputs. It also includes developing judgment about AI outputs. You need to recognize when AI-generated content is excellent, when it's good enough, and when it's subtly flawed in ways that might not be immediately obvious. This requires deep domain expertise, combined with understanding of AI capabilities and limitations. And critically, you need to develop the ability to combine AI capabilities with uniquely human skills to create outcomes that neither humans nor AI could achieve independently. This is where the real magic happens, and it's where the most value will be created going forward. Let me give you a specific example. There's a market research consultant I know who has completely transformed her practice by incorporating AI tools. She uses AI to analyze thousands of customer reviews, social media posts, and support tickets to identify patterns and themes. She uses AI to generate initial reports and visualizations. But then, She applies her human judgment, industry experience, and client knowledge to interpret those findings. Identify what's truly meaningful versus what's just statistical noise, and translate insights into actionable, strategic recommendations. Her productivity has roughly tripled, allowing her to take on more clients and charge premium rates. Because her insights are deeper and more comprehensive than competitors who work entirely manually. She's not being replaced by AI. She's using AI to become significantly more valuable. Another crucial skill set is what I call meta-learning, or learning how to learn quickly. The specific skills that are valuable today may not be the skills that are valuable in 3 years. The rate of change is accelerating, so the most valuable capability is being able to rapidly acquire new skills as the landscape shifts. This means developing intellectual flexibility, comfort with discomfort and change, and effective strategies for skill acquisition. It means staying curious and maintaining a growth mindset, rather than assuming your existing expertise will carry you through your entire career. Practically, this might mean dedicating significant time to continuous learning, not just passive consumption of content, but active skill building through courses, projects, and deliberate practice. The professionals who will thrive are those who treat their career development like an ongoing education, constantly adding new capabilities to their toolkit. Let's also talk about the importance of developing broad contextual knowledge versus narrow technical expertise. In a world where AI can handle many specialized technical tasks, generalists who understand how different pieces fit together become more valuable. For example, a marketing specialist who only knows how to run Facebook ads is increasingly replaceable by AI tools that can optimize ad campaigns. But a marketing generalist who understands customer psychology, brand strategy, channel integration, data analysis, and how marketing connects to broader business objectives is much harder to replace. They bring contextual understanding that AI lacks. This doesn't mean don't specialize. It means make sure your specialization includes understanding the broader context in which your specialty operates. T-shaped skills, deep expertise in one area, combined with broad knowledge across related domains, are particularly valuable. Another often overlooked skill is the ability to explain complex things clearly to non-experts. As AI handles more technical execution, the ability to translate between technical and non-technical audiences becomes increasingly valuable. If you can help executives understand AI capabilities and limitations, or help technical teams understand business requirements, you're providing value that AI cannot easily replicate. Let me also address the question of retraining and career pivoting, because for some of you, staying in your current field may not be viable. Some industries are going to contract dramatically. Some job categories may largely disappear. If you're in one of those categories, you need to think about transitions. The good news is that many of the skills you've developed are transferable, even if they don't seem like it initially. The analytical thinking you developed as a data analyst can apply to many fields. The client management skills you built in consulting can transfer to sales, account management, or project management. The attention to detail you honed in quality assurance can apply to compliance, auditing, or operations. The key is reframing your skills in terms of capabilities rather than job titles. Don't think of yourself as a paralegal. Think of yourself as someone who can do detailed research, synthesize complex information, identify relevant patterns, and communicate findings clearly. Those capabilities have value in many contexts. If you need to retrain for a new field, be strategic about it. Look for growing fields where AI is creating new opportunities rather than eliminating jobs. Consider roles that involve overseeing, auditing, or training AI systems. Look at industries that are just beginning their AI transformation, where there will be demand for people who understand both the traditional way of doing things and emerging AI capabilities. Some specific fields that are growing and likely to continue growing include AI ethics and governance, AI training and quality assurance, data privacy and security, healthcare roles that combine technical knowledge with human interaction, sustainability and environmental services, and creative fields that emphasize uniquely human elements, like live performance and experiential design. One final point I want to make about staying relevant: the importance of personal branding and visibility. As traditional employment becomes less stable and more competitive, being known for your expertise becomes increasingly valuable. This means developing a public presence, sharing your knowledge, contributing to professional communities, and building a reputation that extends beyond any single employer. This is why I'm creating this content, by the way. I'm building an audience and establishing expertise in a way that transcends any particular job. You should think about how to do something similar in your field, whether through writing, speaking, teaching, or contributing to open source projects. In a world where AI can do many things, being known as the human expert who truly understands your field, who can explain it clearly, and who has demonstrated insight and judgment is a powerful form of career security. Before we move to the final section, where we'll look ahead to what's coming, take a moment right now to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The landscape is changing fast, and I'm committed to keeping you informed about new developments and strategies. Make sure you don't miss the next video in this series, where I'll be covering specific action steps for different industries and career stages. Now let's look ahead. What does the employment landscape look like in 2030? What's coming that you need to prepare for now? I'm going to make some bold predictions based on current trajectories, conversations with AI researchers and tech executives, and my own analysis of where this is all heading. Prediction 1. By 2030, the majority of knowledge workers will be what I call cyborgs. Humans whose work is so deeply integrated with AI tools that they're essentially human-AI hybrid systems. The distinction between human work and AI work will become blurred. This is already starting to happen. When a writer uses AI to research topics, generate outlines, create first drafts, and suggest improvements, and then applies their human judgment to refine and perfect the content, who created the final article? The human or the AI? The answer is both, working in integrated partnership. By 2030, this will be the norm across virtually all professional work. Lawyers will use AI to research cases and draft documents. Doctors will use AI to diagnose conditions and suggest treatment plans. Engineers will use AI to design systems and write code. The professionals who resist this integration will find themselves unable to compete with those who embrace it. This means the skill of working effectively with AI will be as fundamental as computer literacy is today. Schools and universities will need to teach AI collaboration as a core skill across all disciplines. Prediction 2. We'll see the emergence of entirely new job categories that don't exist today, focused on managing, training, auditing, and optimizing AI systems. Just as the internet created jobs like social media manager, SEO specialist, and content strategist, AI will create new professional roles we haven't even named yet. Some of these are already emerging. AI trainers who teach systems to perform specific tasks. AI auditors who verify that systems are working as intended and not producing biased or harmful outputs. Prompt engineers who specialize in crafting effective instructions for AI systems. Data labelers who create the training data that AI systems learn from. But we'll see second and third order effects as well. As AI handles more routine work, there will be growing demand for professionals who can handle the exceptions, the edge cases, and the situations where AI fails. We'll need professionals who specialize in human-AI interaction, figuring out how to design systems where humans and AI collaborate effectively. We'll also see growth in fields focused on the human consequences of AI. Therapists who specialize in technology-related anxiety and displacement. Educators who help people navigate career transitions. And policy specialists who work on AI governance and regulation. Prediction 3. The traditional employment model, where you work for one company full-time doing a defined job, will become less dominant. We'll see a massive shift toward project-based work, portfolio careers, and freelance arrangements. Why? Because as AI handles more routine work, what remains is often specialized, high-level problem-solving that doesn't require full-time employees. Companies will increasingly assemble temporary teams of specialists for specific projects rather than maintaining large permanent workforces. This has already been happening in creative industries for decades, and AI is accelerating the trend across all sectors. By 2030, it's likely that 40 to 50% of professional workers will be freelancers or contractors rather than traditional employees. This shift has profound implications. It means more flexibility and autonomy for workers, but also less security and stability. It means benefits like healthcare and retirement will need to be restructured away from employer-based systems. It means workers will need to be much more entrepreneurial, constantly marketing themselves and finding new opportunities. Prediction 4. Educational credentials will become less important than demonstrated capabilities and portfolios of work. Why? Because AI is making specific knowledge and skills less valuable than the ability to apply judgment, solve complex problems, and deliver results. A college degree proves you can learn, but it doesn't prove you can effectively work with AI, navigate ambiguity, or create value in rapidly changing contexts. By 2030, employers will care more about what you can do, demonstrable through portfolios, projects, and certifications, than where you went to school. This is actually democratizing in some ways, creating opportunities for people who are talented and driven, but who don't have traditional credentials. But it also means you can't coast on a degree earned years ago. You'll need to continuously build and showcase new capabilities. Prediction 5. Income inequality will worsen significantly unless we make major policy changes. The workers who successfully adapt to the AI era, who develop valuable skills and learn to leverage AI effectively, will thrive and earn more than ever. But workers who are displaced by AI and unable to transition to new roles will struggle significantly. We're already seeing this. The premium for workers with advanced AI skills is enormous. A software engineer who's highly skilled at working with AI tools can command compensation 2 or 3 times higher than one who isn't. Meanwhile, workers whose jobs are automated away often end up in lower-paying positions because the market for their skills has collapsed. By 2030, without intervention, we could see a labor market that increasingly resembles a barbell, with high-earning professionals who work in partnership with AI on one end, low-wage service workers in jobs that haven't been automated on the other end, and a hollowed-out middle class in between. This raises serious questions about social policy. Do we need universal basic income to support people whose jobs have been automated? Do we need massive retraining programs? Do we need to tax AI systems or the companies that deploy them to fund social support? These political and policy questions will become increasingly urgent as AI displacement accelerates. Prediction 6. The work week will shorten, but not in the way optimists hope. Some futurists predict that AI will usher in an era of abundance where people work fewer hours while maintaining or improving their standard of living. I'm skeptical. What's more likely is that many people will work fewer hours because they can't find full-time employment, not because they're choosing leisure. We'll see more underemployment, people with advanced degrees and skills working part-time or in roles below their qualification level, because full-time positions in their fields don't exist. Meanwhile, the workers who are highly successful in the AI era will probably work as much or more than they do now, because the rewards for being at the top will be enormous and the competition will be fierce. Prediction 7. We'll see significant regulatory intervention in AI deployment by 2030, but it will come after substantial disruption has already occurred. Governments are always slow to regulate new technologies, and AI is no exception. Right now, there's minimal regulation around companies' use of AI to make employment decisions, evaluate workers, or automate jobs. By 2030, after the social and economic disruption becomes undeniable, we'll likely see laws requiring transparency in AI decision-making, protections for workers displaced by automation, and possibly restrictions on certain uses of AI in employment contexts. But these protections will come too late for many workers already displaced. It's like putting up guardrails after people have already driven off the cliff. Regulation is important, but it's not going to save you. Personal adaptation and preparation are far more reliable. Prediction 8. Mental health challenges related to AI displacement and job insecurity will become a major public health issue. The psychological impact of job loss, career uncertainty, and feeling obsolete is profound. We're already seeing increases in anxiety, depression, and substance abuse in communities affected by economic disruption. As AI displacement becomes more widespread, affecting not just factory workers but also educated professionals who thought they were secure, the mental health impact will intensify. By 2030, we'll be dealing with a mental health crisis related to employment instability and the existential questions raised by AI. This might sound overly pessimistic, but I think it's realistic. We need to be prepared not just economically, but psychologically for a world where traditional career paths are disrupted and job security is minimal. Prediction 9. We'll see a renaissance of emphasis on uniquely human experiences and capabilities, but it will be concentrated in certain sectors. As AI handles more routine work, there will be growing appreciation for things that are authentic, handmade, and human-created. We're already seeing this in some consumer markets. Artisanal and handcrafted products command premium prices precisely because they're made by humans rather than machines. Live performances are more valued because they're unique human experiences that can't be perfectly replicated. By 2030, we'll see this principle extend to professional services as well. There will be a premium market for services delivered by humans, marketed specifically as human expertise and judgment. Not everyone will be able to afford these premium human services. They'll be luxury goods. But for the professionals who can position themselves in this market, it will be lucrative. Prediction 10. The companies that successfully navigate the AI transition will be those that find the right balance between AI automation and human expertise, not those that automate most aggressively. This might seem counterintuitive, but hear me out. Companies that replace workers with AI too aggressively often discover they've eliminated crucial institutional knowledge, creative problem-solving capability, and adaptive flexibility. They become hyper-efficient at executing current processes, but unable to innovate or adapt to new challenges. The companies that thrive long-term will be those that use AI to augment and amplify human capabilities, rather than simply replace humans. They'll maintain diverse teams that combine AI capabilities with human judgment, creativity, and ethical reasoning. This suggests a path forward for workers. Position yourself at companies and in roles where you're seen as a valuable collaborator with AI, rather than a cost to be automated away. Demonstrate that you make the AI better, not that you're in competition with it. So what does all this mean for you, right now, in 2026? First, don't panic, but don't be complacent either. The changes I'm describing won't happen overnight, but they're happening faster than most people realize. You have time to adapt, but not unlimited time. Second, start developing AI collaboration skills immediately. Learn to use the AI tools relevant to your field. Experiment with them. Understand their capabilities and limitations. Get comfortable working in partnership with AI systems. This is no longer optional. Third, focus on developing the irreducibly human skills we discussed. Relationship building, creative problem-solving in ambiguous contexts, ethical judgment, and contextual understanding. These are your competitive advantages. Fourth, diversify your skills and income sources. Don't put all your eggs in one career basket. Develop multiple capabilities that could translate to different types of work. Consider building side projects or freelance work alongside your primary job to create fallback options and additional income streams. Fifth, invest in continuous learning. Dedicate time and resources to constantly developing new capabilities. The half-life of skills is getting shorter, meaning skills become obsolete faster than ever before. Staying current is a continuous process, not a one-time investment. Sixth, build your network and your personal brand. In an unstable employment landscape, who you know and who knows you becomes more important than ever. Invest in relationships, contribute to your professional communities, and develop visibility in your field. Seventh, take care of your mental health. Career uncertainty is stressful. Develop resilience practices, whether that's therapy, meditation, exercise, or strong social connections. You're going to need psychological resources to navigate this transition. Finally, get involved in the broader conversation about AI's impact on society. This isn't just a personal career challenge, it's a collective societal challenge that will require political and policy responses. Support policies that protect workers, provide transition assistance, and ensure that AI's benefits are broadly shared rather than concentrated. The future I've described in this video is not inevitable. It's a trajectory based on current trends, but trajectories can be altered. The choices we make, individually and collectively, over the next few years will determine whether AI leads to widespread prosperity and human flourishing, or to significant disruption and inequality. The one thing that's certain is that AI is going to continue advancing and transforming work. You can't stop that. But you can control how you respond to it. You can be proactive rather than reactive. You can adapt rather than resist. You can position yourself to thrive in this new landscape rather than be swept away by it. If you found this video valuable,
I need you to do 3 things. First, hit that like button. It helps this content reach more people who need to hear this message. Second, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you're informed as these trends develop and I share new strategies and analysis. And third, share this video with colleagues, friends, and family members who need to understand what's coming. This information is too important to keep to yourself. In upcoming videos, I'll be diving deeper into specific industries and career paths, sharing concrete action plans for different situations, and interviewing experts who are successfully navigating the AI transition. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. The AI revolution is here. The question isn't whether it's happening, but whether you're prepared for it. I hope this video has given you the information and motivation to start preparing. Because the workers who adapt will thrive, while those who don't will struggle. The choice is yours. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.